Today we are in the vegetable garden for one last season harvest. I'm really excited to pick out the last of these El Jefe jalapenos. These have been so unbelievably productive for us this year, but temps tonight are dropping into the 30s, so we need to get these all picked. And I'm gonna be picking all these peppers and hopefully making some jalapeno poppers for the freezer and some Cowboy Candy. Some of these have little baby jalapenos on them, but they're honestly too small to worry about, so. Peppers. See how it's kind of like purpley there? I thought they had a disease, so I pulled them out of my garden. Get some shishitos here too. Peppers are a biennial. Of course, I'm in Zone 6B, southeastern Massachusetts, so I doubt they're going to winter over for me. You can pull them out and pot them and bring them inside. I'm not going to do that, but I'm kind of just clipping off the branches as I go, just so it's easier for me to see where I've been more than anything else. I don't actually expect anything to come back. Ta-da! Not bad for October 22nd. Look at this one. It's almost black. Can you see that? Clean knife. Now, one thing that I like to do before I season it is I'd like to spread the cream cheese out in the bowl. And what this does is allow more surface area to get more evenly distributed seasoning. I actually just used the last of my coriander, but I am going to add just a tiny bit of cayenne. So you don't want to add too much because the jalapenos are already spicy. But if you were growing jalapenos and they were a little on the mild side, definitely a good idea to add just a little. Gloves again. gonna tuck these in now, put these in the freezer, and then we are going to prep the cowboy candy. Alright, so I need 2.5 cups of apple cider vinegar. Anyone with a vegetable garden who plans on doing any sort of preserving, I highly recommend right around the time you start preserving, pick up a couple of 1-gallon vinegar jugs in assorted flavors. Red wine vinegar is really good for canning salsas. I like apple cider vinegar for a lot of different uses, especially savory type jellies, like if you're making an onion jelly. It's really good for making pickles. I really like it in bread and butter pickles. And then I also really like it in my dill pickles as well. You can pick up white for dill pickles. Okay, so next up is sugar. I'm gonna add 5 cups of sugar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so basically you're making a simple syrup and you're adding some spices. This particular recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of turmeric, and half a teaspoon of ground ginger. Quintupling, is that a word? Because I'm quintupling my my syrup to accommodate my peppers, I'm gonna have to multiply that by 5. So I need 5 teaspoons of chili powder and 2.5 teaspoons of the ginger and the turmeric. The chili powder is listed as optional, so I think what I'm gonna do is actually just do 2.5 because I'm not sure I need it. I already have like some pretty spicy peppers. So I added all my seasoning. Now I am going to bring the simple syrup mixture to a boil. Alright, so if you've never water bath canned before, I highly recommend checking out the video series by Roots and Refuge, and I'll link that down below. It's a good baseline. I have what's known as a water bath canner, and it's just like a giant stock pot, and it has this grate that you can pull up and down. When I was a kid, my mom just used a giant stock pot, and she used a kitchen towel at the bottom. You don't have to have this, but this works very well if you do have one. So it's completely up to you. Also, highly recommend getting a utensil kit. Mine came from Ball, and it has this thing right here. You can get these individually. The other utensils for canning, you can get away with using something else that you already have in your kitchen, but these are a lifesaver when you're pulling hot glass jars of processed food out of the canner. You want something like this. You really do. It has silicone vinyl type coating on it, so it's slip resistant, which is really important. If you try to use tongs, like regular kitchen tongs, it's dangerous. Okay, so you do want to get specialized canning tongs. Okay, so I brought this up to a rolling boil. Now I just reduced it to a simmer, and I'm adding the jalapeno peppers. Okay, so I just added the jalapeno peppers, and now I'm gonna stir so that they're all coated. Gonna get them to a simmer again, and then cook them for 4 minutes. You know, if you're still trying to heat up your jars, you can take a little bit longer to cook them. That's not really a problem. Alright, it's gonna get spicy in here. If you have a vent hood, now's the time to use it. Okay, I had the vent fan on because it is getting spicy in here. So the utensils that you really should have, or some are nice to have, some you really should have, a jar lifter. This is a specialized tool that you really should have for canning. This is a double-edged tool. This tool you use to help get the bubbles out, because you don't want to have bubbles in your jars, because it will hasten it'll make your food go bad faster. So you want to run this around your edge and make sure you get all the bubbles out. This end of the tool is to measure your head space, to make sure that you're leaving 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4, whatever it is. For these candy jalapenos, we're going to do 1/4 inch. And then a nice to have is a lid lifter. Especially, oh sorry, yeah, so this is also nice to have. You can use a thin rubber spatula and you can eyeball it. This is especially great because you're gonna put your lids in some hot water, so you don't well, warm water, because you don't want to melt the seal, but you don't want to be putting your hands in that hot water because you want to keep it sterile. So I'm gonna just put all my lids, not the rings, the lids, in a pot of water onto simmer, and then I'm gonna finish loading up my canner with my jars so that they can sterilize, and then I'll be right back. So I have a whole rack full, and now I'm gonna lower that in the water, and then I'm gonna start my timer for 10 minutes. I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's really important that you're covering your jars with at least 1 inch of water. All right, so lid on, and 10 minutes. The timer is going off. Woo! This oil going on, and now we want to lift this rack up very carefully. And they are out. So they need to sit on the counter for 12 hours. Don't stack them, don't put them in the pantry. What you're looking for is ooh, it is very hot. But what you're looking for is, when you touch this, not for there to be any like poppy pop. You want it to be a nice tight seal. Okay, I have my nachos. I made these with leftover taco meat from last night, black beans, Monterey Jack cheese, and that Cowboy Candy. It's so good. I was really unsure about how spicy these were going to be because the jalapenos themselves were like super spicy. And when I tested them from the batch before I canned them, they were super spicy. But these have a nice kick to them. They're not like I need a glass of milk like right now. They're really quite delicious. And I think the chili added like a perfect like subtle like warmth to it, which I really like. I hope you guys will give this a try. I'll link the recipe below. Thanks.